Welcome to the conversation. I'm Shannon Taylor, the Executive Director, and with me is Leo Shalit, back from law school, Pace Law School. You may remember him 2 years ago. He was still a law clerk with me in the court system, and now he's at Pace Law School finishing this semester, one more to go. I remember those happy days, one more semester to go at law school. Leo, how does it feel?
I must say I feel like a champion. It was definitely something that I knew could have been accomplished, but actually accomplishing it was totally something else. And the satisfaction that I feel is unsurpassable.
I feel a great satisfaction, too. All the interns and law clerks come back these last weeks, a glutton for punishment, each one of them, but it's especially nice to see you because you stayed with us through college and through the breaks, through the summers, working on the websites for Blacks and Jews in Conversation and the field trips, and you brought, I don't know how many of us, out to Pace College, and we will yet come to Pace Law School and to the Judicial College out there, which shall be done with Professor Dunn at the Environmental Law Department. And we have many plans yet to consummate. I would like to ask you, of all the exams that you've taken and the papers that you've done, which one do you feel the proudest of?
You know, that's actually a really interesting question. Each test, I would say, is its own mountain to overcome. But my recent New York practice final, I would say that I was the most satisfied with because it was the exam where I discovered for myself what legal analysis as far as law school requires on exams is, and figuring out a mystery like that was important for me, and so I am proud of that exam the most.
My wife Judith was a close friend and mentor of yours, and always had the greatest aspirations for you, and is, I'm sure, very, very proud as you enter your last month, as are your parents and your family. You came as a child from Russia, and English became your new language. Is it a challenge that you recommend to others, or would at this stage of history, would you recommend people stay in Europe and Russia, or would you recommend that they come here to study?
I think it depends on what each individual's goals are. No doubt about it, America is still the best place to live and to make money and to have an assurance that there is some sort of recourse and that your rights can be enforced in real life with certainty. It's an important consideration. Well, for me, being that I'm entering the profession of law, but also as a citizen coming from Russia and the communist regime where such rights did not exist.
Considering the climate that you left so many years ago, is it better today in the world affairs? Is it worse? Do you see the closeness of the world as an improvement or an impediment?
I think it's more just an evolution, progress to the next stage. It's definitely irreversible, and globalization of everything and the shrinking of the world as far as commerce and e-commerce is concerned, I think is a good thing, and it's something that I'm personally very interested in and hope to pursue professionally.
Now, you've always been interested in business and in commerce, as you've said, in the civil side of the law, even though you've worked with us on the criminal side. In terms of China, I think that is the newest entity on the block. Do you see China as a competitor to Russia these days, or do you see China and Russia teaming up against Europe and the United States?
I think China is going to play devil's advocate along with Russia against the United States, while on the other hand fostering strong economic ties with America because we are their biggest client. So China will have this two-faced, I think, approach to diplomacy for a long time coming.
Would you want to spend time in China? Would you want to go and do business as a lawyer in China? Do you think it's safe to do that? Could you rely on the markets in China and on business ties, or would you prefer to stay at home once you graduate law school?
I know that I took a course on arbitration last semester, and we studied this topic extensively. It turns out in China their arbitral decisions are enforceable, and companies which have disputes, international disputes concerning cargo, they are able to get restitution in China against Chinese companies using the Chinese court system or the international UNCITRAL arbitration system.
Now let's get to the immediate week. This is the holiday week. This is New Year's. Are the students that are in your year preparing for the last semester, are they like yourself? Are you and they ready to have a week of relaxation and partying and New Yearing, or are you more geared to a professional life and what's coming, your final exams, looking for jobs, preparing for a bar? What is more on your mind? I remember when I was in a similar situation, I did not think of the future. I thought only of the present good time. What about you?
I think my classmates, as well as myself, we are focusing on the near present. Entering the job market is certainly on everyone's mind, but that moment is not exactly here right now, so we are also focusing on the holiday break and looking backwards on what has been accomplished, because even getting this far in a legal education is definitely an accomplishment and something that everyone should be proud of in every law school.
Now you're also a great student, a master of judo, and I almost had for my father a tenant in the martial arts, and I was going to consult with you as an expert in the field, and your father as well. Is the subject of martial arts growing? Are people becoming more capable at self-defense? Is it fitness? Is it health? What is it that is seeing an explosion in my mind as to what was, when I was growing up, marginal? Students of martial arts are very few, but I think today you're seeing it more and more, and how has it helped you?
To answer the first part of your question, I definitely agree with you that martial arts as a sport, as a fitness activity, something that isn't only for hooligans and other people who want to endanger lives of other people, is definitely growing, and it's grown substantially, primarily because of the rise of mixed martial arts and the changing of the laws which have allowed mixed martial arts competitions to occur in some states around the nation and around the world. To answer the second part of your question, martial arts was always something that concerned the spiritual side of me. It was never about violence, but more about developing the type of self that you wanted to be in the future. It has helped me in overcoming life's obstacles from the point of view of a constant release of bad energy when serious problems arise, and has given me the competitive spirit to stay in the game long enough to hopefully see myself a success on the mat as well as in life.
Now, you've sustained many victories as well as injuries. Do the injuries ever impede you from continuing or going further emotionally or mentally?
Well, as my father would surely agree, the injuries are something that ultimately do not stop me, my desire to compete, but they are a pragmatic and realistic impediment to seriously entertaining the pursuit of martial arts or mixed martial arts as a financial endeavor. It's something that I will do daily in my life, but I don't think I'm able to compete anymore.
My question really goes to this. In getting to the point you have in the last semester of law school, you certainly have had to have a determination to get past a lot of obstacles, many that others wouldn't have had, and same thing with martial arts. Now, there are many who would say, upon the first spill off a bicycle, I won't mention who, that one spill off a bicycle is enough not to get back on that wretched bicycle and to wait for the summonses for people who are riding bicycles and get even then when they're misusing bicycles. But there are others who say that you don't let these things stop you. I think you're the type of person who says, these things will not stop me. What goes into that type of psyche? What kind of resolve do you need to say, I will not be stopped by the momentary setback and by pain? How do you overcome pain?
Well, my trick to overcoming pain has been to just go off to a different place in your mind. And the most important thing is understanding why you're in there doing whatever competition or obstacle you're trying to overcome. In your heart, you have to know that at the end of the day, no matter what, or at the end of the battle, you're going to be the last one standing and you will be a survivor. And that is really the only thing, because pain is not pleasant, but it's not something that necessarily is a permanent hindrance to accomplishing any type of goal. All worthwhile pursuits, I'm sure, I believe, require suffering in order to overcome and reach new level of sophistication in that endeavor.
I have never been a fan of suffering. And I don't. My father would agree with you, but he's a survivor of the resistance of World War II. When you do social things on campus, you have, I presume, extra legal activities available. What might they be?
Actually, Shannon, that's incorrect. During the semester, all I did was train and study. Going out was, it was an option, but it wasn't something that I engaged in regularly for a while now, just because my interests have been lying in mastering the legal arts.
What was your exam schedule like? Did you have more than one exam in a day? Did you have days in between exams, or were they one on top of another?
My exams were laid out. I had 2 exams the first week and 2 exams on the week after that. The way the exam schedule played out, I had 2 exams in one day, and I took both of those exams instead of putting it off and taking it after the regular finals examination time period ended.
When I went to law school, even though it was in another century, I had a law school that had a advanced view on bringing in all different backgrounds and all different geographies, and women were there more than men. It was the beginning of the turnaround in population demographics. But what is it like in your law school class? What percentage of women as compared to men? How many different nationalities, minorities, and so on? What did you find your class composition to be?
My class composition is approximately 60% female, 40% male. It is 85% Caucasian white. We do have some African American, Latino, and Asian students, as well as other minorities, but primarily the composition is white Caucasians from the tri-state area.
Now I'm determined that blacks and Jews in conversation shall again come to Pace Law School. We came there 3 times in the 90s. Shortly after we first formed, it was one of the first places we went to with dear, beloved, departed Aaron Schreiber, who came from my law school over to Temple, and Randolph McLaughlin. I believe Randolph McLaughlin is still a professor at Pace.
That is true.
And also I've spoken with Joy Bean at the Judicial College, and as well as you've introduced us to the chair of the Environmental Department, Professor Dunn. And we should get started very shortly with her syllabus, because we have one last chance to include you in this as we go into the last. Are you game, Leo?
Absolutely. And that is one of my priorities for this coming spring semester, to bring blacks and Jews back to previous glory in Pace Law School's hallways.
We came with some of the most distinguished jurists, including the Honorable Juanita McNewton, who is now the head of the Judicial College, and your neighbor. Does the student body at Pace Law School interact with the Judicial College, especially since Judge Keating is now, I believe, a vice president of Pace Law School?
I'm not really sure how much direct contact there is between the law school students and the Judicial Institute. I do know that sometimes programs are held there, but there's definitely more that could be done to promote unity between the law school environment and the Judicial Internship Institute's programs.
Now, in coming up in January, we have our continuing legal education, and we start on January 11th and 12th. Do you have classes January 11th and 12th?
Honestly, I don't know yet. I haven't looked into when this next semester starts. I just got finished sleeping off.
Well, I'm giving you notice. On January 11th and 12th, we can meet those days, and I'm going to be busy both days, but afterwards, or at lunchtime, on 11th and 12th, we'll all be there in force, and there's some very interesting new subjects that we're studying: ethics for the criminal court law clerks, and law, responsibility, and the brain, which addresses new developments in neuroscience. This is for my wife, and their implications in the area of criminal law. I can't wait to take that. It includes brain injury and violence, and mental disorders, and criminal behaviors, and it goes on to the second day with the my favorite, the Honorable Barry Cammons, who each year gives us the updates on the criminal law. And also Honorable Fernando Camacho on human trafficking, the impact of human trafficking, and then another
tremendously high social cost.
And then we have recent development in negligence law. They have case conferencing. They have
damages.
Yes, and an overview of the Office of Court Administration. You can, that should take a week, the Office of Court Administration, but they're doing it in a short time. They have ethics in the electronic age, and then, of course, criminal procedure and evidence are the staples. So the 11th and the 12th is a perfect opportunity to begin this. We've done so many conferences over the years. We've gone to I don't know how many dozens and dozens of universities, but Pace holds a special place because we came with Judge Hornblass and Judge Lewis Douglas, the former head of the Franklin Williams Commission, and Judge Milton Tingling, and then Judge Sandra Miller from the Appellate Division, Second Department, and more. 3 different panels, and they were our formative years, and we had, at each time, we had the entire hall filled with students from PACE, and it's time that we return, especially under the present federal administration. We should be there at PACE, especially when there is a judicial college. And Leo, send the word out to your friends and come up with the most interesting topics we could discuss under the environment. You know that President Obama actually got China to come up with disclosures on coal. I heard this from Joey Reynolds. And the countries that have forests and peat and marshes and swamps are now going to be, pursuant to the latest conference in Copenhagen, compensated not to be deforested or to fill in their marshes and wetlands. And these are major developments. And have you studied any of this at PACE?
I know that the environment and environmental legal studies is a major it's a major subject in the PACE curriculum, but it's not one that I have had the pleasure of studying yet. I focused on business and business law studies, as well as evidence and more pragmatic civil procedure course loads. Nonetheless, federal subsidies is definitely the only way in which the environmental devastation that's going on around the world and the resource depletion that is going on will be stopped. It's definitely a federal matter, one that the Obama administration appears to be serious in handling, and I look forward to seeing my classmates succeed in this area of practice in the future, because it definitely will be a hot new area of law for those who are qualified.
And PACE excels in this area, doesn't it? It has quite a reputation.
Yeah, it's the 3rd in the nation. It was ranked by Newsday and the U.S. News magazine.
Are you happy with your years at PACE? Are you glad you chose that law school? Was it a good follow-up to PACE College and our internships?
Under the totality of the circumstances, I couldn't be happier.
Well, what are your reflections of your law clerk days with the court system and with our organization? What are your reflections? How does it help you at law school?
Well, I have the fondest memories of being formerly your intern, though I will always be your intern in the years to come.
Well, not just me. I mean, there were many judges that you came in contact with.
It has helped me in learning how to deal with people in a legal environment, a professional environment, absolutely. How to work properly and meeting deadlines, as well as how to manage conflicts, personality conflicts, in an office setting. It was all beneficial, and nothing went down the drain. Absolutely not.
Well, I admire your loyalty, and what I'd like to know is let's say you get someone who's not as nice as me. Are you going to give the same loyalty?
Absolutely not. Loyalty is something that comes up and is developed over time. When learning other people's response in a specific situation, particularly when their back is against the wall and their true nature comes out. It is those times where loyalty is built and developed, so I can't say it will ever be the same, because you and I have had our unique relationship, a great relationship, and one that will flourish in the future. No doubt about it.
So, in terms of travel, Do you anticipate coming back to Russia at any time, and perhaps doing business there with your knowledge of Russian and perhaps family there? It could be of help.
There is actually one specific project I'm working on right now regarding sending certain commodities from the States to Russia. Business with Russia is definitely something that's on my mind. I'm not sure how logistically if I'm going to be able to secure the supply necessary to send over there, but should I accomplish my goal, I would be more than happy to do business in Russia and go there to visit this coming summer.
I received a wonderful book, A Daily Dose of Kindness, Stories from the Heart, A Response to Terror from Shmuel Greenbaum, in terms of how wonderful it is in Israel, kindness is in Israel. What are your reflections on Israel? In terms of the future, will you be traveling there?
Absolutely. Israel is a place that I always love to visit. It's like a second home or a first home. I haven't quite figured out where to prioritize it, but it's definitely a special land filled with all of the world's problems in one small place. Israel is it holds a unique place in my heart.
And would you recommend other students to go there, perhaps study law there as I did?
Sure. Study of law anywhere is something I highly recommend when going there.
Do you remember our trips of judges over there, our missions of judges? We're going again, God willing, this year, and maybe you'll come and join us.
I do remember working on the fact-finding mission a couple years ago. I'm glad that you got it off the ground, but you didn't get your proper credit for it, I know.
So I did. No, I did. I always get credit. I make sure I get credit.
Okay. But
Judge Thompson deserves the credit. Boy, he went through mountains and rivers. He led the troop through everything. That guy is indefatigable. There's nothing that stops Judge Thompson, our chairman. He's the one who really deserves credit. He got the judges to go, not me.
But wasn't there some sort of newspaper article where, I don't know, personally, my opinion was that you should have gotten more credit.
No, Leo, it was fine. It was wonderful. I want to see you there with us and your father. And I thank you very, very much for coming. And Godspeed, a Happy New Year, a successful career to you. And God bless the future.
Thank you, Shannon.
And to Pace. And welcome back.